I'm Cape Joel, and this is Comic Smack, the weekly comic book show where we take a closer, more in-depth look at the coolest and most happening things going on in the world of superheroes. And on today's show, we're looking at Legends of Tomorrow issue number 1, tying into the new CW TV show, kind of, sort of, not really. This new comic book offers up an anthology take on a bunch of different DC heroes, so let's hop on in and see what we can see.
Starting things off, we have a Firestorm story starring Ronnie Raymond, Jason Rusch, and yes, Dr. Stein, of course. Right off the bat, I can't help but feel that if you are picking up this book because you are a fan of the Legends of Tomorrow TV show, then you're probably going to be confused right out of the gate with this comic book status quo. But then again, that's really nothing new for Firestorm fans. DC has been consistently fumbling the character since the beginning of the New 52. Gail Simone's series, couldn't make that work. Oh, what's that? The hero's doing really well on television? Well, let's kill Ronnie off in the comics in the pages of Future's End, then replace him with a new female Firestorm, then never come back to that character ever again. If you are new or just need a little refresher, then this little story does do a good job getting you up to speed. Ronnie is the jock, Jason is the nerd, but they put their differences aside and come together under the wise Dr. Stein to fight crime. The only issue now is that their fusion is kind of unstable, and the only person who can help them is Multiplex, Dayton Black, an old Firestorm villain who they're going to need to hunt down if they want to fix themselves. One of the interesting things about this Legends of Tomorrow book is that it actually brings back a bunch of the original creators, and for Firestorm we have the legendary Jerry Conway, co-creator of Firestorm, co-creator of The Punisher, and writer of the famous Night Gwen Stacy Died book. Next up in the anthology is a Metamorpho story that gets you up to speed on who Rex Mason is and Simon Stagg and all that other good stuff. This story does, however, throw some curveballs into the Metamorpho story that we know, including some stuff involving ancient Egypt, some weird visions, and kind of a horror-esque direction. The third story in this anthology is probably my favorite, and it focuses on Sugar and Spike. Don't know who they are? Well, I can't blame you. You see, back in the early 50s, they were two toddlers, kind of like a Dennis the Menace-esque, comedy strip. Here they've been reimagined as two fast-talking detectives given a special mission to retrieve something very important from the supervillain Killer Moth. What did Moth steal that was so important? Well, as we find out, it's a bunch of costumes, Batman costumes, the really silly ones from the Golden Age he doesn't like to talk about. And lastly, we have a story about the Metal Men. Man, for a minute there it seemed like the Metal Men were going to be getting their own solo book. Jeff Johns had given them a great little arc in wherein they teamed up with Cyborg to fight the crime syndicate, but then they just sort of fell by the wayside, didn't they? Yeah, and that's Legends of Tomorrow issue number 1. Overall, a very mixed bag. None of them were particularly bad, but I don't think any of them would be able to sustain their own solo series on their own. In fact, packaging all these stories together is actually kind of a throwback to Golden Age comics, when a bunch of superheroes would share one book. The popular ones would spin off into solo series, and the unpopular ones, well, they wouldn't. You certainly get a lot of bang for your comic buck, that's for sure, and if you're a fan of these characters, chances are you're not going to be able to find them anywhere else than in the page of this book. Overall, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching my newest video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll feel like checking out some more videos I have on offer here at Cape Joel.